I need you to share this miracle testimony, because it seems like God's doing this again, that he's tapping you on the shoulder again and saying, all right, and you're ready to walk out the door, and you get a call from Bob Dylan.
You know, the amazing thing about that story is how powerful Bob Dylan is. You know, the Rolling Stones, took a name from one of his songs. There's not a major artist in the world that doesn't in some way or another pay homage to Bob Dylan. And Bob Dylan said one time, I don't care who writes the laws for a generation as long as I can write the music. And what is an interesting thing about Bob Dylan was how completely isolated he was from anything spiritual. And he gets saved in Los Angeles. Here we go again.
Yeah.
He gets saved in Los Angeles in the original Vineyard Church of LA.
Wow.
And so here he is. Nobody knows it. Nobody knows that he's going to get saved. But in 1974, I stood on the stage at Melodyland Christian Center in front of Disneyland. I was preaching, and something crazy came out of my mouth. I looked at the audience and I said, Bob Dylan is going to be born again. All right, fast forward. It's now 1978. I am discouraged. I am done with San Francisco. It has been chipping granite with a plastic fork, and I feel like a flea on the back of a sleeping rhinoceros, and I can't make any headway at all. And I tell God that I quit. And I'll never forget it. I told God, I said, I quit. And God said, well, before you quit, go upstairs and pray one more time. And I said, no. Because I know what you're going to do. You're going to do what you always do. And you've done it to everybody that's ever called in your name. You give them a promise, and then you throw them in a situation that makes that promise utterly impossible. You tell a man to build a boat in the middle of a 100-year drought. So now I'm not going to pray because I know what you're going to do. So I went up and prayed. And in this occasion, I started throwing furniture. And then all of a sudden, God said, I'm going to pour out my spirit on the San Francisco Bay Area, and the world's going to look and wonder. And I said, that's it. That is the cruelest thing you have ever said to me. I don't believe it, and I won't accept it, that you're going to pour out your spirit on the San Francisco area. I'll never believe that unless you confirm it right now. So, Alan, when I said the word now, there was a thing that millennials don't know what it is called a hard line. And it was a telephone, and it began ringing with actually a rotary dial on it. And it began ringing. And I didn't want to answer it because I knew Jesus was on the phone. So I pick up the phone, and it's the last voice in the world that I ever expected to hear. And it goes like, is this Mario Murillo? And I said, yes, it is. He said, this is Bob Dylan. Well, I had a right-hand man named Alan, and Alan, it must be a name of people.
You always got to have an Alan in your life.
Yeah. I said, Alan, this is a bad time to do your impersonation. Really bad. And he goes, Alan, who's Alan? This is Bob Dylan. And that's when a chill went through my body. Why is Bob Dylan? He said, in 1974, you stood in a church, said I was going to get saved. I said, yes. He said, well, I have been saved.
Wow.
And now I'm going to do an album called Slow Train Coming, and I'm going to premiere it in the Warfield Theater on Market Street in San Francisco. And my fans don't know I'm a Christian. And when they find out, there's going to be a firestorm. And I asked someone, who's a man of God in the Bay Area that can pray in the spirit? When he said that, I thought, he's gotten the whole train load.
Yeah.
So he said, go backstage. I'll give you a backstage pass and just pray while I'm singing. And I said, Bob, I'll do it. I had a friend who wouldn't believe it, Alan. So I said, I need 2 tickets, Bob. He said, okay, you got it. Then he was about to hang up. He goes, one more thing I've got to ask you, Mario. Did God tell you he was going to pour out his spirit in San Francisco?
Wow.
And brother, I was paralyzed. And I told him, yeah, recently. And he said, well, Mario, it's true. God is going to do it. And that's, I know I'm taking a long time, but Alan, that's when we laid the groundwork to go to the 16,000 seat Cow Palace Arena. We ended up going there and filling it with 15,000, 16,000 people. It had never been done in San Francisco. We saw an altar call where 2,000 came to Christ.